Hi everyone, welcome back to Class 101. Bryce Coe here, and in today's lesson we're going to continue to learn about how to draw with ink and really leverage the concepts that we talked about in the previous lesson about line quality, so things like line weight, stroke length, and rhythm, and using them in a practical drawing. We'll have a special emphasis on how to portray hard and soft materials, and it should be very helpful. So let's get to it. For materials, we have the Kuretake felt pens. I have them in order here from extra fine, fine, medium to thick here. To start with, I am going to go with the medium. And for our first example, we have this lovely beetle here. My goodness, this thing is crazy. So just, wow, take a look at all of the texture going on the surface of this guy. And look at those wings, transparent. Got some separation of material here. Look at how the head is different from this like neck area, and then the shell of it for the wings. That's pretty cool. Okay, so before we get to drawing, just want to kind of do a quick review of how we're looking at this thing. These shapes here are non-uniform, super irregular stuff, but I'm thinking of this guy primarily as this being a large box, just another rounded box, despite all those complicated shapes inside. And then at the front here, for the head, this is primarily kind of like a rounded plane, so another rounded box. Legs being cylinders, and these are flat planes for the wings and shell. So let's get to it. I'm just going to mostly draw the way I normally do, but just trying to point out where I choose to make decisions about the line quality. Okay, I'm going to do an angle something like this. And to start, I'm going to kind of try to plan out how big this guy's going to be. So I'm thinking this is the head here. This is this box, this curved round box. Curved box for the body, planes for the wings, cylinders for the legs. Can you see it? Like, were we done? Okay. So going for the head in front. I'm just going to try to lay out the basic contours of those shapes. So inside of this here, thinking of this as a rounded box, and then I'm not even sure what this is. You know, it's kind of like it's like the nose or something. I have no anatomy skills on the official terms, whatever, for beetles. Something like that. And if you're practicing along with me, just a reminder, it's not about the end product here. What we're trying to do is learn and practice technique. So don't get too frustrated if the drawing goes badly. I'm going to try to do the same, even though it might go badly as well. Okay. I'm not gonna try to avoid the temptation of going into the details there. I think in a more normal setting, I might just start to render out these things one by one, but I'm going to try to go in a more step-by-step pattern here, just so that you guys can kind of see the steps one by one rather than back and forth all over. Okay. There's the wing. Other wing, roughly around the same height, a little lower, I suppose. There's the body. And you can kind of see the side plane of this back box, or it's actually a curved top plane there, but then you can see the side right here. So that's a very helpful part of the object to see. I'm actually going to leave a little space here for the wing. I really want to do something different with that, just as far as the line thickness, the line weight. Okay, ooh, what are these things on the front? Okay, so he's got like the antennas that are real curvy, sassy antenna there. Those ones I'm going to have to do first. I was thinking I was going to do the legs, but because these are in front of them, I'm going to draw them first. I kind of wrap around like that. So curvy cylinders, a combination of cylinders all rotating around and coming forward here. Ends in some interesting details that I'll also leave for another pen. Mirroring this over there. Cool. Now for these beautiful legs. Look at those shapes. Cylinders on cylinders on cylinders, but they flare out. So thinner at the top and flare out towards the bottom. Three here, and then this guy. So three kind of like, okay, so like what is that exactly? This is the arch of the first two, and then the second two are kind of in the reverse shape. So over here, what we see is the front plane of one of those cylinders, and that reaches backwards to over here. And then, like I said, these second two kind of do the opposite. These ones are bending this way, and this one is bending this way. So, you know, I think it could be real confusing to draw something like that unless you really take the time to understand the 3D shape you're drawing. That's what this class is really about. At least thus far. We'll get into the other fun stuff later. Okay. Oh, that's placed. So he places them out like here. Last leg back here. Ooh, that's got some bend to it actually, so I misdrew that. This is actually the front plane of the first, or the side plane, sorry, of that first cylinder. It's reaching back this way, that second one, and then these guys land facing the opposite direction of the head. Ooh, this is just a mess of stuff, isn't it? Okay, we'll clean it up once we finish this other side of the legs. Try to do that a little faster. I'm not sure if you guys have figured it on your own or if it really needs to be said, but if you are drawing along with me and I'm going way too fast, no problem in just taking a pause if you want to go at a slower speed. I am actually honestly trying to go faster than I normally would, just so we can cover a little bit more ground. Okay, so though right there is a contour of the major shapes that I wanted to cover with the medium baseline line thickness or line weight. I'm shifting down to the fine tip, so not the finest tip, but the one just before that. And now I'm going to go in with some cross contours. I'm going to start with the head again. And man, look at the amount of detail that this modeler put into this. Pretty nuts. So some cross contours just to kind of help define this form. He's actually got a really interesting pattern going on here. It's like I don't know if you'd call it a pattern, but it's definitely a repetition of this shape here. Just kind of these arrow lines converging. Some small dashes also to accent this edge is not being super, it's not like super hard, it does round off in the real model, so that's what those serve. That's the purpose that they serve, I should say. Same with this. There's a lot of nuance in this shape here that won't come off unless you do add a little more detail. The eyeball, I'm gonna color it in. Oh, it's so cute. Not really. I take it back. It's still kind of scary, even to me as I'm drawing it. I'm getting terrified. Okay, and then now looking at this neck area. I'm not sure what it's called exactly. Ooh, I missed a shape there. There's like this kind of diamond back here. It's all right. Drawing some of the planes here of that diamond to make it more clear. Then this is a bunch of texture on this, but we don't want to just do the texture everywhere like this guy, otherwise we'd be here all day. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna purposely use the dashes to convey the shape and prioritize conveying shape in 3D volume with those dashes, as opposed to just like saying, oh, it's uniform all the way across, I'm gonna do this texture all the way across. Use the lines whenever you can to convey volume more so than anything else, really. So I'm using kind of a gradient of the rhythm here to show that this is kind of a separate plane from this top plane of the shell. That it kind of gets slower as we fan out from that. Do the same on this side. Trying to indicate how rounded it gets at those points. Okay. Now to the, what should we do? Let's stay in the front here before we jump around too much. So some cross contours along these antennae, or whatever they are, these feelers. Make sure that those are not just squiggly lines, but basically a bunch of cylinders strung together. And then, whoa, what the heck is that? Is that like his hand that he's gonna use to grab things? So I didn't draw this, both because it's not. It's like if I were to draw it, it's like kind of not a base object, so the contour would get in the way. It's definitely irregular, but I decided not to draw it because it was more of a detailed shape, and also because I wanted the line weight on it to be sharper and thinner with this other pen. Okay, it's the same on this side. And these are cross contours, but they were so small on the antenna thing that they look the same as the dashes. But it's such a small object, I think that's totally fine. Okay. At the ends of the feet comes to this little claw shape. Ooh, he's got two toes there. So one toe over here that you see. The other toe we don't quite see, but I'll kind of cheat to indicate it. Going over here. Legs don't appear to have too much of a unique texture to them. Just going to draw some dash / cross contours here. Make those shapes pop a little more. This side I feel like we can see the second toe like that. This toe angles out this way. Body now. So this body's got, remember, it's got a lot going on as far as a lot of cross contours going across this form, indicating that it's not flat, it's a rounded shape. So I'm going to do the same cross contours here. And some of the same idea here. This form, I suppose, the detail of it is that it's showing the bumps in the irregularness of this. This isn't a perfectly smooth, like ladybug kind of shell. It's got a lot of crevices. This side. Okay, so that's the fine tip. I'm now moving back down to the extra fine, and I'm real excited about this because one of the great uses of line weight for this example is that the wings are so delicate and transparent that switching to this finer pen is going to help convey the weak material that the wing is made of. One of the ways that we can also help convey the transparency is with a lot of broken lines, as opposed to these very firm unbroken lines for the contour of the wing. We'll just have lots of broken lines. And let's see, do we have any other opportunities here? Now that's pretty much what I wanted to reserve for the fine. I think I see, because this was transparent, I was hoping to have also those materials kind of interact with each other, where because this line, which would continue here, is obscured by a wing, I'm going to have it be a broken line. So it's there, we can see that this is a line, but the broken nature of it just makes it feel like there's something in front of it, or that the line is weakened because of that overlap. Got some broken lines in here that aren't intentional. That's totally normal. Sometimes I draw on broken lines just because I don't know where I'm going, so I might just be like, oh, I need to check. Sometimes your hand's blocking your view. You can always go back and cover those up. And that pretty much wraps up the lecture portion of this lesson. Let's talk about your mission for this class. So your mission for this class is to draw an object and to pay special attention to the different sorts of choices you can make in the line quality of your lines. So I'd like you to use things like line weight, stroke length, or rhythm to make the objects have clear distinctions between hard and soft materials and to strengthen the 3D forms of the objects. Alright, so let's get to the choices that you have available. For the mild option, you have this lovely creature here. Very clear delineation between a hard and soft material, so have a lot of fun with this one. Next up, for the medium, we have a baby turtle, and I'd just like you to pay special attention to the difference between the hard shell and the soft skin of this little guy. For the spicy option, we have some soft organic flowers inside of some hard man-made vials. The thing that makes this one a little bit more spicy is that it's got transparency. So whenever you see the flowers inside of the glass tubes versus outside of it, try to create a distinction between those two types. For the extra hot, we have a character here who is wearing definitely some extra hot clothing, as in the hard armor versus the soft cloth. So just if you tackle this one, pay special attention to making those things contrast. And those are the 4 missions that we have for this class. Before we go, let's do a quick recap of what we did today. We put into practice the things that we learned about line quality into a drawing that featured some hard and soft materials. So hopefully some good practice for everyone. And in the next class, we'll be moving on to brush pens. And brush pens are one of my favorite tools to use. They're extremely versatile, and I can't wait to share a little bit more about them with you in the next class. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for today. See ya.